All right, welcome to the White Line Athletics video. We are with Lester Hernandez here at South Sherbrooke Fitness, and today we're going to be talking about some common problems we have with the bench press and how we can basically engage in a really effective warm-up and some cueing to correct those problems and increase your performance.
With the bench press, I mean, everybody loves Monday for that one reason. And as creatures of habits, we're going to do what we like. And if we like the bench press, we're going to stick with the bench press. Just like when you're a kid and your friends came over and they wanted to play whatever game, but you want to play something else, they played your game because it's your house, right? So and we're going to do what we like. And so, with us, with a lot of guys, we'll say, like in the bench press, we don't like to do some of the stuff that we don't see. We like to do the arms, we like to do the chest. The back, the shoulders, the calves,
You can't see them.
Yeah, you can't see them, right? So not as important, right? But but they are, right? So just as important, and with the bench press is having strong enough shoulders and strong enough back to be able to support that bar and to be able to drive it up in the long run. So
Awesome. Yeah. So what kind of stuff do you do to get warmed up for the bench press? Like, do you normally hop on the bar, put a plate aside, or what do you talk about?
so it's not just some of these, and then throw a 45, then another 45, and ask for a spot, right? So not quite. We've grown over the years. So normally, what I've been liking, aside from like say if I'm just tired when I get in, I might just do whatever that kind of wakes me up, but I will grab a band, right? So usually what I'll do when I grab a band, I like to do some band pull aparts, more so for the upper fibers of my back, or upper fibers of my traps, the back of my shoulders, right? So I might just take a band, my hands are just in front, I'll pull my shoulder blades together. So that's a big thing too. We'll get to that, the kind of that shoulder retraction, right? Or to be able to lock that together for just kind of a stable or for a better base when you're benching, right? So what I'll do is I'll pull my shoulder blades together, I'll do the band pull aparts. So I'll do about 15 to 20 of those. So that way the back of my shoulders, they start to burn, upper fibers of my back will start to burn too. And so once I do that, I'll kind of feel a bit better. Almost like, because everything we do is in front of us, whether we're at like a desk, a computer, like everything, right? So for the most part, a lot of us are like that, even though we don't think so, right? So that kind of resets us up. Next thing I like to do, with the band, I'll loop it around something. So I might go over to a squat rack or any sort of place like that. So any sort of place that has a stable base or an anchor, right? So I might wrap that around, I might double them up. So even right here, I'll still kind of slide my shoulder blades in the back pocket. So that's a cue I like to have too. It's, if I say retraction or protraction, some people are like, huh? And if I say, slide your shoulder blade in your back pocket, they're like, oh, okay. Then they feel the lats kind of working a little bit better. If that kind of works, and a lot of the other smaller structures in the shoulder starts to work as well, right? So if I have that kind of like in the back pocket, elbow tucked in, and I kind of come across here, right? So it doesn't tire out my shoulder that much, but now my pecs kind of get a little bit more involved, so they're kind of awake, right? Once I start to do that, I'll actually come over across, I'll come up top, so I'll kind of get a bit of the stretch in my lats as well. So if I kind of walk it out, allow my elbow to kind of get pulled back a bit. So usually if people don't have good shoulder extension, I realize it's a different motion, but if with poor shoulder extension, or one of my colleagues, Mark, the physio upstairs in the clinic, he was saying that if people have elbow pain when they're benching, it's usually because of if they have poor shoulder extension, they can't bring their elbow down that far and to kind of keep it at that optimal like 45 degrees-ish position, right? The elbows flare out, and then that's where they kind of get that, that little bit of impingement in the shoulder, travels up the elbow, then they kind of like, they gotta get that bit of numbness here, travels down to the fingers. So if I do that, it kind of loosens me up too, and I'm able to kind of keep my shoulder blades kind of locked in a better position too.
It also gets that your lats are engaged. I mean, the whole thing with the bench is that you're not letting the bar float down, you're actually actively pulling the bar down too, right? So this is gonna help open up your lats when you're going to pull the bar down in a controlled way to engage your lats so that you're not eccentrically loading your pecs as much as you would if you're going to basically do a negative, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And with better shoulder positioning, I like to tell my clients, like with just like the legs of the table, that if we have our feet set on the floor, I mean, some people have their feet up, they can if they want to, but I like to have my feet on the floor, just a better position, better foundation. And so if I have my feet set, and then need to have my shoulders set too, because with the back, with the ribs, the rib cage, it kind of they do round off at the back too. So and then the shoulder blades, they kind of slide along the back of the ribs. So and if I can kind of lock my shoulder blades better, like kind of lock them in a better position down, kind of slide them together a bit, it kind of flattens out my upper back. So Once again, it's just like that better foundation, just like the 4 legs of a table or a chair, better position, so that way the energy travels up. I'm big on Newton too, so Newton's third law, right, the equal opposite reaction. So if I press hard into the floor with my legs or with my feet, energy travels up a little bit better through my legs, through my core, through my shoulders, and if that's all set, that bar should move up a little bit easier. If the limiting factor is my weak shoulder positioning, right, then the energy will travel up through my legs, knees, hips, core, and if my shoulders are weak, energy dissipates. It does not translate up very well, so that bar would really grind going up. So it would be really tough, or it may not go up at all.
Mm-hmm. One of the things too is that when you're getting your shoulder blades set in that bench, so once you depress them, unless you put them in your back pocket, you press and retract. Your arms are up here, and now typically what we see is there's a push up, so we're going to protract, and basically we're going to lose our position. Mm-hmm. So probably a good idea is that instead of pushing the bar up, you pull the bar forward, and that's going to maintain your shoulder position there on the bench, which you just set yourself up for, because as you protract, you have all this weight sitting on top of your shoulder that's not stabilized, right? So pulling the bar forward and then keeping high tension on the bar by pulling apart and then actively pulling down would probably be the best way to maintain that position.
Yeah, absolutely. So keeping that constant tension on, having the lats engaged, getting the other structures involved too, and even other cues of like when they're when they're in rack, they're right here, to be able to slide, to be able to lock shoulders back in, and even having a bit of a for what I found for myself. If I think of almost bending that bar, a little bit of the serratus anterior kind of get involved as well. So if I do that, a little bit of that, a little bit better stability, then I have just more control over that bar and over that weight. And I'll tell my clients too, whether we're working with kettlebells or barbells or dumbbells or anything like that, you move that weight does not move you, right? So kind of almost like taking ownership of of that weight and of the session or whatever you're going through for that day.
Yeah, so as we're talking about implementing some of the things, especially with the band and pull apart, a lot of times the speed of the set is going to dictate how you maintain that stable position. So if we're used to going in a way that's up and down, but we're not used to consciously cueing our shoulder blades back and depress, we're going to lose that position because your stabilizing muscles aren't going to be able to maintain that position through basically a high speed set. So coming to the top, resetting consciously until it becomes second nature for your body to do it. Bring the bar up and down slow, press it, make sure you have high tension, retract, pull again. It may be different than the way you normally conduct the sets, but the thing with Lester was saying is with the cueing, you want to feel that retraction in there and make sure your shoulder is in a stable position. Stabilizing that shoulder takes a lot of other muscles that may not be used to working. So start as if you're starting again, because this is the most safe position to be in, and it's going to require a lot of stabilizing muscles. So go at a speed that's going to be a little bit slower because you want to have those stabilizers able to maintain that position, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I think it was Kelly Starrett said it best himself, where practice doesn't make perfect, practice makes permanent. Yes. Right? And so if you're constantly practicing poor technique, poor shoulder traction, or even kind of if you're aware of it or not, right? And so if you're just not used to practicing that stuff, then you will start to load up a bad position. Then that's when the compensations, other injuries, things like that start to occur. So if you can kind of practice, and almost just to be able to relearn some of these things that were super foundational at the beginning of our lifting careers, of just getting your shoulder blades in a better position. That the lifts, you might need to take a step back, but then in the long run you'd be able to take 10, 100, 1,000 steps forward, just because of that one thing, just having better shoulder positioning.
Awesome. All right, yeah, well, just give it a try out and see. And even if you don't have a band, you can use even a towel, just something that you can apply high tension with, right? Get used to retracting the shoulder blades. That's the key when you're doing the bench press, and that should definitely make your bench press a whole lot more stable and also promote some shoulder health by not getting injured, right? So that's pretty much it for this one. So thanks very much for watching, and please click on the subscribe link. Check out Lester's channel on YouTube as well. I'd love to have some subscribers there so you can keep in touch with him. And we'll be in touch soon. Thanks very much.